girls band dance team from 10th through 12th grade, where she finished as captain. Also, she is currently on the modeling team. Ayana has an artistic side also. Not only is she charismatic, Ayana has been a part of the school choir and the musical theater group. She has starred in Cutting Up and Lion in the Wiz. Ayana worked one-on-one with students who have autism, Down syndrome, attention deficit disorder, as well as physically impaired students. In the fall, Ayana is looking forward to majoring in music education at Bethune-Cookman University. Please welcome Ayana Kelly.
We omitted Mr. Eric McKinley Kent, Board of Trustees for Friendship Public Charter Schools. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Friendship Public Charter Schools and our CEO, Ms. Patricia Brantley, we welcome you to our 16th annual graduation ceremony. Today is a very special day for the Friendship Public Charter School family and especially for us here at Collegiate Academy. In less than an hour, we will walk across the stage as the most ethical, literate, well-rounded students that this world has ever seen. To our administrators, teachers, and staff of Friendship Public Charter Schools, we welcome you, while at the same time we thank you. We thank you for caring and preparing us with a rigorous curriculum for college. Without your patience and commitment to preparing us for the future, many of us would have quit 1,000 times by now. You never gave up on us, even when at times we wanted to give up on ourselves. To our parents and guardians, we love you and we thank you. This evening, we will receive our diploma. To our families and friends, we thank you for coming to celebrate this milestone with us. Without your love and support, most of us would not be in this room or even alive. Without the hard work and vision from the Charter School Board of Friendship Schools Board of Trustees and the Community Office, we would not have the opportunity to attend, much less graduate from, an outstanding public charter school like Friendship Collegiate Academy. To my fellow classmates of Friendship Collegiate Academy's class of 2018, I welcome you. At this conclusion of an auspicious ceremony, we will be taking the next steps to enter college. The hard work has paid off, and we have made it in the beginning of the rest of our lives.
At this time, I want to invite a scholar from the Academy of Science and Technology. He was a peer leader for the College Summit and is a Ward 7 and 8 scholar. This student expanded his friendship career beyond the classroom, and was a member of the football, track, and field teams. This fall, he will be attending Glenville State University in West Virginia this fall, majoring in business and engineering. Let's welcome DeAndre Mosley.
Ms. Tamika Mallory is an esteemed social justice leader, advocate, activist, and mother. A New York City native, this fiery outspoken organizer has remained a consistent fixture in civil rights movement for nearly 20 years. Ms. Mallory's focus on civil and human rights includes extensive work around equal rights for women, economical empowerment, gun violence, criminal justice reform, and police accountability. Ms. Mallory served on the transition committee of New York City Mayor-elect Bill de Blasio and continues to be a significant force amongst government officers, policymakers, and other community advocates. As a former executive director of the National Action Network, to her instrumental role in creating New York City's crisis management system, an official gun violence prevention program that awards nearly $27 million to violence prevention organizations annually. Ms. Mallory is stitched into the fabric of a new revolution for the civil rights. Most recently, Ms. Mallory was one of the 4 co-chairs for the Women's March on Washington, the largest single-day protest in U.S. history. Ms. Mallory is now continuing the mission of Women's March on Washington as the co-president of the Women's March Incorporated. Ms. Mallory's firm, Mallory's Consulting, a strategic planning and event management corporation with Fortune 500 corporations and organizations on flagship projects related to mass incarcerations, gun violence, and police brutality. Ms. Mallory has made the fight for equality her life's work, and she continues this as a board member of the Gathering for Justice organization and an active consultant of the Justice League New York City. Ms. Mallory has been honored of the 2017 Times 100 Pioneers list as Fortune's 2017 list of the world's greatest leaders. She is an awarded activist and has been applauded as a leader by President Barack Obama. A highly sought-after speaker who travels worldwide to speak on issues plaguing our society and the actions needed to bring forth. Ms. Mallory can be found on many multimedia platforms talking about her work, talents, and policies, and exposing social constructs that perpetuate injustice. Ms. Mallory is without a doubt a change agent for the future of our country. Let's give a round of applause for our guest speaker, Ms. Tamika Mallory.
What's up, y'all? It's really good to be here with all of you today. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause for showing up this morning? And thank you so much, Dion, for introducing me. He said a lot of things, but really I'm just the mother of a 19-year-old young man who was in his first year at Morehouse College, so I'm really excited for all of you. And I want to thank all those who had me to be here today. There are so many to acknowledge, and I want to make sure that I give the proper acknowledgement to your principal, Mr. Curtis Lawrence, and also Ms. Peggy Jones, our chairman, Donald Hentz, and also the CEO, who I've spent a lot of time talking to, and I see she is a real powerhouse, and that is Miss Patricia Brantley. Thank you all so much. And of course, Candace Burns, wherever you are, thank you for helping to coordinate me being here. And I want to make sure to give a shout out to my brother, who is responsible for asking me to come and be a part of this occasion, and that is Roland Martin, who most of us know as being a great giant in our media world. And if you don't know Roland Martin, you need to get to know him. As young people, you should be following Roland Martin because he brings us the truth and the funk as it relates to the news and media. Again, I want to thank you all so much for having me. To be a part of a commencement celebration is a high honor for any of us who are sort of on the speaking circuit, whenever asked to come and speak with young people during their graduation period. It is really, really important because it is truly a moment that is of impact in your life and in this society that means so much to us. And to choose a commencement speaker is a really, really important moment in terms of how you go forward. And so I am very, very grateful to be asked to be here. And I want to make sure that we acknowledge the brave soldiers that are in this room, and that is the village of parents and guardians and teachers, faculty, all those who helped you to get to where you are today. I know we don't always think that they did it, but they certainly have. Your village, let's give them a round of applause. And of course, to the class of 2018, I want to say to you in the great words, the great orator and profound lyricist, Cardi B, ow. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. I wish you could see yourselves. You guys look beautiful. Watching you come in here in this robe, walking around with your pride, walking around with your heads up. These are great moments, and you can't do them over. These are moments that they happen once in a lifetime, these accomplishments, and you ought to feel really, really good about yourselves today. If you could just look at the glow
knowing that there was a mountain ahead of you. You knew you had to climb this mountain, and you actually did it. Know that you will be the ones to light the path for so many who are coming behind. There are those who are in your homes. There are young people who are watching you, and they're looking at you saying, because you did it, I know that I can as well. We know that it is a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster ride, right? If we're all honest, we've all been on that roller coaster where you're not really sure what's going to happen. But this moment is that moment where you're sort of on the roller coaster and you inch all the way up to this high peak, this moment when you get to the top and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the dips and turns and the dives and the twists and everything, what it will be ahead of you. But you know that it is certainly that rush that's coming. And that rush is really lighting the fire for change and for our society to see what these new leaders are going to be about. What will generations ahead say about all of you? And on this day, as you sit here to commemorate this momentous occasion, you all are at a peak. The next phase of your life will challenge you to take chances, to embark upon and embrace that rush. Where do I go next? What do I do next? How do I continue not to just make my parents proud, but to make myself proud? You have a lot of choices ahead of you and a lot of things that you will face. And what I've learned about this institution, which you all ought not miss, that you have had an opportunity, a privileged opportunity, to sit in an institution where people worked really hard with you in mind. They worked hard to ensure that there was opportunity, that there was a place that you could learn about yourself, get on a path, and also be leaders in your community. Not everyone in the communities that you came from had this opportunity. Do you agree with me about that? Not everyone on the street corners and in the communities that you left even this morning to come here have had this opportunity, and you are responsible for showing them that not only can they do it, that they should do it, and that you will help them to ensure that they make it to a moment like this. Just making it to a charter school in itself is an opportunity that many do not have. You know, when we think about public school and the public school education, our system is failing young people. And so to know that someone and that your parents and others made sure that you had an opportunity is one that should not be lost on you. Now, I know that there was some hard times, that some of you had some hard things going on at home, that you dress up and you come to Friendship every day, and not everyone knows what's going on. Even your best friend may not have known about things happening in your home. Some of you had to get extra credit and fight through some personal challenges in order for you to make it to this moment. And we know that in the face of despair, that particularly black and brown people always show up. And that's what you have done by making it here today. You have shown up. So don't be afraid of what is to come, because your track record says you already lit. You've already proven yourselves. Your track record already precedes you. The endurance and the perseverance and all that you have demonstrated for these last 4 years of your life will carry you on to the next phase of your life. And you may not feel it yet. You may still be saying to yourself, really? I made it here. My parents helped to pull me along, but can I do the rest of this? Can I make the rest of this journey? And I believe that you can. I'll tell you a little bit just about my story. So although all these great things were said about me this morning, you would think that I went the traditional way, the way in which many of you have taken to be here, but I didn't. I actually received my GED in a college program. Someone told me that if I signed up for college, that the first I think it was 30 or 40 credits, would apply towards my GED. And that is how I actually was able to get out of school. I told you I have a 19-year-old son, so 17 years ago, when my son was just 2 years old, his father was shot and killed, and he was left in a ditch for 2 weeks before his body was discovered. By the time he was found, he was completely decomposed, and we were never able to give him a real service. And I remember thinking to myself, where do we go from here? Here I am, I have a baby, and society has said that I wouldn't make it. I'm not supposed to be standing here as your commencement speaker today. Just like you, and sure was God, nothing but God has brought me to where I am. I didn't have a lot of answers at that time, but I can tell you one thing, all the negative words and the negative thoughts that I know all of you have heard, I was hearing it. The haters were telling me that I couldn't make it, that I would never, ever become one of the 4 women to lead the largest single-day mass mobilization in United States history. And certainly, as a black woman, there is no way on God's green earth that I could make it to all these places. The cover of Glamour magazine, they don't even put activists and people from the hood. I grew up in the projects. On the cover of Glamour magazine and Essence magazine and all these places that I made it to. The haters were in my ear. They were telling me I was too loud. How many of you have heard you're too loud? That's what I know. Too loud, too strong, too assertive, too aggressive, too opinionated, too smart even sometimes. I thought I knew it all, which is kind of true because I still have that problem in my life right now. But I was always too something, and they didn't mean it in a good way, because sometimes to be too smart should be a good thing. But in my case, as a young black girl who was walking around with a baby on one hip and all kinds of other drama on the other side, being too anything was just too much for a lot of people. But in the end, I did the work. And that is the point today that you all need to know, and what you need to take from this experience, that you have to actually do the work. No one is going to give you anything. And to be black and brown in America means you have to actually work harder than other folks, because they definitely, not only will they not give it to us, if they can, they will stop us from being able to get it ourselves. And, you know, I did the work, and I was the girl who said to myself, you know, no matter what anybody tells me, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And when I was younger, that wasn't necessarily a good thing, because the people around me were trying to steer me in the right direction, and I wanted to do all the other stuff. I wanted to get into all the things that I had no business being in. And as a result of that, in this world, I was abused. I was used, I was abused, and I abused myself a lot of times. I left home, and rather than wanting to be in the comfort of my loving home with my loving parents, I wanted to run the streets and do things that I shouldn't have been doing. And in fact, don't try this at home, but my baby saved my life. Because if it were not for the fact that I had my son, I probably would have been dead. I want you to know, though, that while people were telling me I was too many of these things, that I was too mouthy and I was too boisterous and just too promiscuous, too rebellious. Don't act like y'all don't know about being too promiscuous and too rebellious. While people were telling me all those things, somehow or another it clicked in me to use all of that to my advantage. So while people were saying that I talk too much at that time, today I talk too much on CNN, on MSNBC, and I talk too much to a lot of people who don't necessarily want to hear what I have to say about the oppression of black and brown people in this country and around the world. I might have been too much for a lot of people, and they may have tried to tell me that I was the too much and the not enough, right? So I was too much on one side, but then on the other side, I was not enough, and these were things in my own mind. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't shapely enough. If you go look, sometimes I think that now, if you go look on Instagram, I'm doing real bad. My family members say I look po. I look po. I'm not shapely enough. I wasn't light-skinned enough. There were a lot of things, negative reinforcements that were in me, about me. And through all the trials and tribulations and the things that I went through, at some point it clicked and a light bulb went off that I actually was all that I needed to be and then some. That I was all that I needed to be and then some. And I came by to tell somebody who is in this graduating class that you are enough, that in fact you are more than enough, and that this country is waiting on you to be the one to make the difference that we need in our society. As Beyonce says, take us with our flaws and all. Our flaws and all, because I know that most of us are flawed. And while today I may be a renowned advocate, there was one day in my life that I just was not there because I was too deep in the streets. And I want you to know not to make the same mistakes that your parents have made or that other people like me have made. Take some shortcuts. We're already telling you that it's nothing over there on that side. The path that you are on right now is the path to not just your success, but the success of your entire community. The trials and tribulations that you may be going through that may have you thinking that you can't do it, those are the same trials and tribulations that Beyonce faced, that Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther, he didn't become Ryan Coogler just one day, wake up. No, he had to go through some stuff in order to make it there. And certainly President Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and all these people that you know about, they started out in places just like where you're sitting today. But the difference is that they were committed to the work. They were committed to being excellent. They were committed to greatness. And so let me leave you with this final thought. I was listening to some music and thinking, when I talk to young people, I need to be able to say something that resonates with y'all. And I know that if I came in here and quoted some Bible scripture, you might like it, but it may not exactly hit you. So I was listening to Solange in one of her songs, this song called Weary, on her new album, A Seat at the Table. And she brings into question how the world operates. She says, but you know that a king is only a man with flesh and bones. He bleeds just like you do. She said, where does that leave you? And do you belong? And her answer is, I do, I do. Be leery about your place in the world. You're feeling like you're chasing the world. You're leaving not a trace in the world, but you are facing the world. Do I belong? I do. I do. I feel like Solange was saying here that you can't allow anyone or anything or any experience in your life to tell you that you are not enough, that you deserve this moment and every other moment, but you are the ones that will have to create these moments for yourself. You cannot be too much of anything. You cannot be not enough of anything unless you choose that. It's all about the decision that you make. But when you get up in the morning, you have to look in the mirror and tell yourself that I am great and that I'm going to go out into this world and make sure that everyone else understands my greatness. And then there is this last thing. As you walk through life, and I want you to be successful, the next time I see you all, when you graduate from college, I want to know that you're going on to either run your own businesses or to work in some of the finest institutions, that you're going to be driving the best cars, that you're going to have the best homes, that all the things that you want, that the ladies going to be wearing your bloody shoes and the dudes are going to be turning it up in whatever way that you choose to do, because you deserve to be successful. But if your success is on the backs of your community, then what was all of this for? You have a responsibility to reach back, to look back, and to care about the issues and concerns of our people. Too often, the community pours into you, and we, as people who become successful, don't understand that we have a responsibility to pour back into our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, as you graduate today and you decide where you belong, you need to know that you cannot be disconnected from the movements that exist in our society. You could be the next Trayvon Martin, the next Eric Garner, the next Sandra Bland. And it is all of our responsibility to focus on what is happening in our society. So yes, while we love to talk about Cardi B and you follow Cardi B, at the same time you need to be following someone like an Angela Rye. You need to make sure that your attention is split between your success, believing in who you are, but knowing that you have the power to transform our communities. We are depending on you to be the next Martin Luther King, even if you got to do it with a little bit of swag and do it while you turned up at the nightclub. We're okay with that. Be who you are, be successful, but don't take more from your people than you are willing to give back. It is up to you to change the world, not just to change it for you and your family, but to change it on behalf of our entire society. There are people who are waiting on you. They were not able to be here, but as you sit in this seat today and as you graduate, know that you are graduating on behalf of those who wish they could have made it here today, but because of barriers, because they didn't have a mama and daddy and family members like yours, they weren't able to be here, so they're rooting for you and they're expecting you to come back and ensure that they make it here too. Now, I have this little treat for you all because I believe that art and culture must exist in this space with whatever we do. Some young people get it through a speech, but other people get it through a song. And so I've asked my brother, who many of you may know, his name is Myson Lennon. He is a raptivist, as he calls himself, to come and to talk to you about your responsibility in the form of spoken word. Let me ask that he would come and join us today. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud of you. And I look forward to seeing you do great things in this society. Make these people who showed up here today proud, because you truly are the leaders that our society is waiting on. Thank you very, very much.
I sat and talked with a legend and I eagerly listened. He told me how he marched with Dr. King because he believed in his mission. He invested his money and his time to change our people's conditions, and all I could think as I heard this man speak with conviction is, I don't have the right to do nothing. You see, Harry Belafonte sacrificed for people like me. So if he decided to do nothing, then where would I be? You see, if he was just content with his celebrity status, there wouldn't be a Women's March or Black Lives Matter, so I don't have the right to do nothing. Because we stand on the shoulders of our elders. We got to continue their fight against a system that failed us. See, Mr. B tells us, he drills in our mind, we got to carry that torch. You see, this is our time. Injustice is a crime, but it's about execution. And those directly impacted must be the solution, so I don't have the right to do nothing, because revolution is a part of evolution. And our forefathers weren't given no restitution. They were given destitution and treatment that's inhumane. So if we ain't part of the solution, how the hell are we going to complain? So I don't have the right to do nothing. I'm on a mission. I'm screaming until they listen. Dr. King died for freedom. I'm carrying on tradition. My people want justice. I'm carrying that petition. Police is out here killing us. We're going to need some more convictions. Peaceful and passive are not the same thing. Know the difference. You are not supposed to lay down and die with no resistance, so I don't have the right to do nothing. I don't have the right not to fight for my life. It is a gift from God. So with all of my might, I will protect my freedom, my family, my home. I know y'all gonna fight with me. Y'all ain't gonna leave me alone. So when my feet get weary and I can no longer sprint, I just think about the babies that's dying in Flint. And I say, I don't have the right to do nothing. God bless y'all. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Tamika Mallory, for that impactful and touching message. Our class is really appreciative for those words. And for that, I would like to present to you